And maybe you'll remember Triangle Sally with her only recorded song, I Have a Triangle. Triangle Sally died halfway through that song, and we did not edit it out.
Hello and welcome to the EuroWhat, episode number 34 for the week of January 14th, 2019. I'm Mike McComb, and I'm joined today by Ben Smith. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Mike.
We are a couple of Americans trying to make sense of the Eurovision Song Contest, and this week we'll be talking about the Czech Republic's online selection. How's it going, Ben?
It's pretty good here, Mike. Winter is in full swing. It's super cold out, but it's fine because there is Eurovision to talk about.
Yes. I don't feel so bad being trapped inside, only able to watch TV, because there's a lot more to watch on the weekends now.
Exactly.
So.
It's wonderful. And like now we have the full logo for the whole Dare to Dream experience.
Yes, so I think this might have been in between when we recorded and when the episode dropped, as is the usual fashion whenever Eurovision news happens. The Dare to Dream logo features triangles.
Yep.
Lots of triangles.
Just a lot of triangles. And the description of these kind of, at least from like the official broadcaster kind of feels like somebody padding out like the SEO count of their webpage, or just like really just trying to hit that one page limit on this essay, because it opens up with the triangle, one of the world's oldest shapes, is a cornerstone symbol found universally in art, music, cosmology, and nature, representing connection and creativity. As triangles can, join and combine, as we all know, they become a new single entity, reflecting the infinite stellar sky as the stars of the future come together in Tel Aviv for the 2019 Eurovision Song Contest.
Neat.
Anyways, Webster's Dictionary defines the triangle.
I did look that up, and I was surprised to learn that the word triangle didn't come into existence until about the 14th century.
Yeah, so there we go. Before that was just, hey, what about that shape with the three sides?
Forming in the sky before us. What is happening? But I think we can expect to see a lot of triangles in the coming months. And I don't know if the delegations were kind of tipped off to this design concept early on, because with Cyprus's entry replay, like they were hinting with it using the sort of play symbol, which is a triangle, kind of playing that up. Hungary's selection process redid their logo for this year. That is pretty much a triangle. I have a feeling triangles are going to be popping up everywhere you look.
I mean, they're a very nice, simple design motif, so it's something that everybody can work with, everybody has access to.
As logos go for the contest, I think it's at least it's something. Like it's not the diversity necklace thing that they had for the Ukraine's contest. Yeah. All of this sort of design stuff can be real hit or miss, and I think they've at least given themselves something to work with here. So we'll see how it plays out.
Well, yeah, and like we saw the stage before, so we really should have known this was coming. Because it's like, oh, hey, you just have just a bunch of triangles there on all sides of the stage, and then like a bridge, and that's fun. So
here's hoping for a three-way tie. I don't know.
Yeah. In summation, everybody, triangles. Tickets are going to go on sale soon. We were sort of discussing at the end of last week's program. We don't know when tickets are going to go on sale, and then Tuesday happened, and we do now.
Yes. So the tickets are scheduled to go on sale after the semifinal allocation, which is happening on Monday, January 28th. I think that kind of makes sense. For the 2018 contest, they had their initial wave November, December-ish, and that was just for the grand final and like the best seats at the grand final. And then they had their first major wave of tickets after the semifinal allocation, pretty much to accommodate like, oh, if your country is in the first or second semifinal, that is probably going to affect your travel plans a little bit. So this development is not all that surprising.
It Makes sense, and it's probably going to be nice because it will probably be less of a scramble to get tickets if if your entry isn't in the first semifinal.
Yeah. The first semifinal, it's usually pretty easy to get tickets just because if you're going to the first semifinal, you're probably taking the whole week off of work. And whereas with the second semifinal, like you can make that a long weekend instead of a full week off. But if all of the favorites end up in one particular semifinal, then I don't know, that could make things a little bit more of a scramble, but we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what else do we have in the world of news?
Something that came in over the weekend was that the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia is trying to get their name change official.
Okay.
Yeah, so over the summer, negotiations between FYR Macedonia and Greece to try to get the naming dispute resolved. The dispute being that Greece does not like that Macedonia wants to refer to itself as Macedonia because there is a portion of Greece that's called Macedonia, and it can kind of turn into a territorial issue. The compromise that was reached was that the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia will rename itself North Macedonia. In order for that change to happen, both countries need to go through this approval process. So in September, there was a referendum where the question was put to the voters on whether or not they support the name change. A majority overwhelmingly approved the change. The problem was they didn't have quorum for that vote. Mm-hmm. So this past weekend, it went to the Macedonian parliament and they voted to approve the name change. So assuming that it passes through Greece, and I don't know if they have to go through the referendum and then parliament or just through parliament or what the process is there. But it's possible that this could be the last year that the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia will go by that full name.
Yep, and then they'll just be the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, none of this North Macedonia nonsense. I want to say the former. So.
Yeah. The country formerly known as the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia.
Yeah. On maps, it'll just be indicated by like the prince symbol. So
just like an asterisk, and then at the bottom of the map, it lists the full name, which is very long.
This may sound like a minor issue. It is not. Like it has been an issue the entire existence of FYR Macedonia, which is approaching 30 years at this point. Until it gets resolved, FYR Macedonia won't be able to join like the EU or other like major international organizations because Greece keeps on vetoing it based on this naming dispute. So not a small issue here.
Nope.
But one that I was not aware of until I started following Eurovision. So
on the topic of name changes, this week we're talking about the Czech selection. Or the Czechian selection?
Maybe,
I don't know. I feel like when they said, we're Czechia now, everybody was like, you can't give yourself a nickname. Last year, the Czech Republic had some of their best performance ever with Lie to Me. This year, they're using the same method, and I'm concerned. We both listened through these. What did you think, Mike?
I was trying to remember what last year's selection was like. So the way that the Czech process works is it's done completely online. They just post all the videos on YouTube, and then you can go into the Eurovision app and vote for your favorites. And whatever gets the most votes is what's going to represent the Czech Republic.
I think there's also a jury element, or like there's like 10 Eurovision professionals that are also weighing in.
That sounds right. Or I think that might have been part of the process last year. And then this year, it was the jury that has selected the songs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was trying to remember last year's process and like what songs stuck out. And I know I liked Lie to Me, but that wasn't the one that I would have voted for. But now I can't remember which one it was that I voted for. So I don't know about the longevity of these. But yeah, I think Czech Republic's kind of in a tough spot just because last year's entry was so good that like trying to come up with a follow-up that isn't either a clone of that or a clone of what ended up winning. And yeah, like they need to do something different but still be effective.
Right.
And,
yeah, they sort of need to do like almost a sidestep of either of those things to really just continue, I don't know, moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or at least try to maintain the momentum that they have built up for themselves.
Right.
And I think a couple of these entries have that potential.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of entries that I have opinions, and that's why we're here.
Just as a whole crop, on one hand, I totally was like, oh, they're sort of giving a unifying factor in that. It looks like each of the artists for the official voting video basically got like the same environment and was told to shoot themselves with like their mobile camera. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, like I can't stand the end products. Like I don't like I don't like them, and it just feels like an America's Next Top Model mini challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or the challenges on Project Runway where they're just like, oh, we'll give you a camera and run around the city and then take photos and then get inspired by the photos. And just
get inspired by the photos, and also Dan and Yo play yogurt.
Yeah.
Make a video about what you feel after eating this. But yes, like I was having like so much trouble like watching them the first time around that like I was just like putting the video in another tab and just focusing on the song because otherwise I couldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did the same thing. And my hope is that whichever song wins, that video is not the official video and that they do something that has a budget.
Yeah, my hope is that whatever wins, that they zhuzh up the video and they also, give it like one more pass in the studio. Because some of these, like the audio on some of these, like I like the bones of the song, but it needs a little bit more meat. It needs like a final production pass for me.
I agree. Should we start going through the entries?
Yeah, let's dig in.
So the first one is called Give Me a Hint by Andrea Hola.
So tell me if I want you once, then give me a hint right now. It's not a sin to take what you want when all that you want has been waiting for you to be taken right now.
Ben, what did you think about this one?
I thought this one was like one of the more solid entries they had. Like it felt like sort of, maybe a little bit more standard ballad, but still a well executed one.
Yeah, I agree. In my notes, the first thing I wrote down was like, oh, I like this song. It was kind of giving me sort of the Latvia 2018 vibes, and you know how much I love that song. But I think this would need a more interesting stage presentation than Latvia 2018 have. Like this one definitely has the potential to just be like standing behind a microphone and maybe like gesturing toward the audience. It needs a little bit more oomph. It needs a little bit more enunciation. I thought it was kind of slurred in some places. And my overall concern about the track is that it doesn't feel like a single. Like it feels like it would be.
Yeah, it has that album cut feel. Like this is not what you came to the Adele album for, but this is also on it.
Right. And I don't know what is missing necessarily to kind of give it that standalone quality that I think it would need.
Right.
Looking at the YouTube views of this, and I know I know you have thoughts about using YouTube views as a proxy for any information, but this one, at least as of Saturday, was top 3 of the 8 entries.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think that YouTube views are a tricky metric to use to really evaluate things, but I think in this case, given that that's what you're getting, we're not getting any sort of live presentation of these. That's kind of what we have to go on, just as data as to how people are responding to it. So of the crop, it's towards the top for me. Okay, so moving on, we have Jacob Ondra with Space Sushi.
Yeah, it's so crazy good. Can you taste it? Space sushi. Space sushi on the table. Space sushi. Get to work here. Space sushi. It's so freaking easy to get wasted.
My notes for this song are, this sounds like a 2015 Justin Bieber demo, and I'm angry about how much I enjoy it. Although I cannot stand the chorus. I don't understand what it means, I dislike it, and it sounds like filler lyrics for when you figure out what the actual chorus is going to be.
My notes are not as favorable as yours, even though yours sound a little backhanded.
Well, I mean, in 2015, I was very mad at myself for how much I enjoyed Justin Bieber. Sorry, so...
That song's still a bop.
Yeah,
but...
it is a bop. Yeah, this one is less of a bop, but I like that this had like a sense of personality and definition to who this person is as an artist.
Yeah,
I don't know. That did not feel like some random YouTuber. Although I did get like weird Logan Paul vibes, and I did not like them. So yeah. I feel like I'm couching like all of my appreciation of this in just things that also make it clear that I do not like it.
Well, I'll just read my notes verbatim.
Please do.
They may need some unpacking. But Jason Mraz for the Wisconsin Dells, ? Spain cell phone Applebee's ad problem. Some horrifying appetizer introduced at Outback Steakhouse ? I think I hate this ? So the Spain cell phone Applebee's ad problem thing is an issue that came up for a couple of years with Spain, where they're like their 2017 entry. I think it was either 2011 or 2012. No, it was their 2011 entry. It just sounded like the music that was playing in the background of an ad for like Applebee's and their new like 2-for-1 special,
their new,
or
steak
like
grillers.
Yeah, or like some cell phone company that's like, oh, come in and you can get texts for free or something. Or like just thinking of like space sushi and just like, oh man, this could also just be like just an ad for just some horrifying food thing that I do not want to be exposed to. It's not that it's grown in a lab, but like it just feels so focus grouped.
Yes, I was about to say it does feel very like focus tested.
Yeah, and like just the whole space sushi thing where it's like, okay, it doesn't really mean anything, but it's just such an unusual phrase that like going back to the whole SEO thing, where it's like, oh, well, if you type space sushi, guess what's going to pop up? It's going to be this thing.
I can totally see this song just sort of playing in the background of like some indie, like made for Netflix indie drama. And it's just sort of in the background and you're not supposed to pay attention to the lyrics because they make no sense whatsoever. And the chorus has no connection to the verses. I liked the actual instrumentation on this one, but I can't with the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with like the vocal tone on this and just sort of the sense of personality. But again, I'm just like, I can't support this one.
It feels like it would be kind of a letdown after last year, which is kind of surprising just considering how much we were complaining about Mikolas's smarminess, but that the smarminess was part of the character of the song. Whereas this time around, I think the character of the song is the problem.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a no for me. And it seems to be kind of middle of the pack in terms of YouTube views. Okay. So I don't know. I found that kind of heartening. It's just like, oh, I'm sure this is going to have like 1 million views.
Yeah, like I was just like terrified that this is going to be at the top. Thank you for confirming this is like firmly in the middle right now. Although who knows what the votes will say.
True.
Yeah. Okay.
The next entry is called True Colors by Barbara Mochawa.
I've got to learn to live my life without you, even though it's hard to let you go. Now that I'm slowly taking off the blindfold, I see the world's true colors,
So did you get Lana Del Rey vibe
Yes,
from this song?
My notes for this are in their entirety. This sounds like an early Lana Del Rey song.
All right. Yeah. Now, is that a pro or a con for you?
I liked her first singles. Like, I liked Video Games. I liked Blue Jeans. I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to a lot of the stuff she's done since then, but she keeps making albums and people keep buying them. So good on her. This was kind of middle of the pack for me. And like, it's fine. And I don't know. My brain just kind of kept tuning out.
I adored this one, and I really hope that this is the one that ends up getting selected. Of the 8 videos, I think she had a pretty clear concept of like what she wanted to present and tying it in with the vibe of the song that she's singing. I think if she can deliver a solid live vocal, and that this year is more of a ballad year as opposed to a party year at Eurovision, this could be a contender. It's the live vocal aspect that just has me concerned with this process in particular, just because there's like none of these are live vocals. So there's no telling what could happen, but I adore this song and it's the one that I'm rooting for.
Okay. Yeah. No, like I wouldn't hate if this one won, but I mean, it's not my favorite, but I totally agree with you that it has like a very defined point of view. Like the video felt like I totally agree there as well, that it felt like she had a concept in mind and really executed it, as opposed to some of these videos were just like, I'm in this Airbnb for 2 hours. Let's do everything.
Right. It looks like that one is currently in the lead with YouTube views. So, yay.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, I think of the pack, I think from video and song and like everything, it has like a really fully realized concept, which, given that everybody kind of has the same resources, that's important.
I agree.
Next, we have Yara Weimer and On My Knees.
So come and lay me down, 'cause when I'm chained, I want to make a sound. I want to be higher, you know that I can be. I'm reaching higher when I'm on my knees.
Okay, so this one I did not like. It's kind of just too slow throughout for me, and it doesn't go much of anywhere.
This one really reminded me of Austria's entry in 2015, where it was just this kind of glam rock-ish piano vibe. And like this did not have the advantage of a piano catching on fire. Not that helped Austria, because that was the year that they tied for last place
and they came
with
in
0 points. Yeah. I don't dislike the song. I think it's fine, but there's just nothing sticky.
There's nothing sticky about it. It's like a beat too slow.
It kind of reminded me of the song that in the Brady Bunch movie that Greg is always trying to sing of like clowns never laughed before. And yeah, it's just it doesn't feel Eurovision-y. It doesn't really feel like I can't hook anything onto it.
Yeah.
And like the video presentation I
is
thought
bad.
was an interesting choice. Yeah, it's just him like eating his breakfast, but it doesn't seem to be like a story thing. I think it was just him being like, well, I got to do this thing now. And
yeah, like sometimes you do what you know, and if you know how to make a fried egg, that's what you do. And yeah, like it felt like
and that egg did not look appetizing.
Yeah, like well, yeah, and like it felt very poorly shot. And like this was like the one case where I'm like, oh man, they should have had like somebody help them out with the video, just because like this didn't have like any concept. This was poorly shot. It just does not help the song. It doesn't support the song at all.
In terms of YouTube views, it was the least viewed video.
And like a handful of those are mine as I was going through the list of songs going, wait, what? Which one was this? But yeah, like this one did not do anything for me.
So the next one is called Don't Know Why by Tomas Bošek.
Waking up in the middle of the night, I need to get you somehow. I'm calling you in the middle of the night, I don't know why. Sitting up in the middle of the night, I'm begging you to come around. I'm calling you in the middle of the night, I don't know why. Don't know why, don't know why. Don't know why, don't know why. No matter what we do.
Yeah, this was another one that I really had a difficult time finding anything sticky about it.
Okay, like I actually I liked the chorus on this one, and I liked the idea of mixing kind of the acoustic instrumentation with kind of like the more electronic backbeat. Like it reminded me of this group Geotic. And like this was one of the ones where I'm like, if this had like an actual final pass, this felt very downly, and if it had like a final pass in a studio with like a producer giving it like a proper mix, I think it would have more of a chance.
The issue that I was having was it didn't feel like a show starter or a showstopper. It felt like if you were at a concert, this would be the second or third song in the set. And particularly with the tempo of the song and that there's not like a huge like rise or fall in the song. I have no idea how this would be staged in any way that would be memorable, feasible. Like I can't even like picture camera movement that would be supportive of the song that just wouldn't be like, oh, I guess I'll take a bathroom break now.
Okay. Yeah, like my notes for this song are, I like this, but there's no way it's winning. In that, like, it's very pleasant. It's something I would throw into my work playlist to just pop up from time to time. I agree with you that I don't see how this would be staged, how this would be framed in Eurovision in a way that's going to propel it to a win.
Which is unfortunate because it's just like it's not like it's a bad
like
song.
It's not actively bad. It's just not a Eurovision song, and that's fine. But unfortunately, it's competing to be a Eurovision song. Okay, yeah, and then next we have Lake Malawi with Friend of a Friend.
She's only a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. She's never home cause she plays in a band. I don't know if you understand. She's only a friend of a friend of a friend. I had a dream that you walked through the door. I can't recall her name anymore. Please believe that I'm your man. She's only a friend of a friend of a friend.
I'm only a friend.
Remember how with Space Sushi I was saying that I dislike the chorus? I also dislike the chorus of this one.
I hate this song so much.
Oh, yeah.
The part where he says, like, when he talks about, like, oh, it sounds like when we make love. It was
It's
just like,
yeah,
oh.
just a big old nope from me.
Yeah, oh,
yeah,
like,
I like that this song is kind of mid-tempo / up-tempo for like all the entries, but also everything else is just no.
Well, first of all, the phrase make love is so barfy.
Yeah.
But the only thing to make it barfier is when it's somebody, I don't know, 22, 23 saying that. It's just like, oh, just ew, ew,
It's just
ew,
a child.
ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't lead with that. Like that's just a bad place to start.
Also, like, kind of thinking of the staging and like the rules of Eurovision, where all vocals need to be live. So the part where it's the woman saying, "I'm only a friend," that means that there would have to
there's,
be
like, a
somebody
person,
on
like,
stage whose sole role is to walk around and then just be like, "I'm only a friend," which that's just gonna look goofy live.
Yeah,
And,
just I'm trying to envision what this performance would look like, and like it's just giving me cake to bake, which just kind of loose, kind of
Careful.
rambling. Yeah,
I liked Cake to Bake.
I did, but like that entire performance felt like, who let these people on the stage, and are they supposed to be there?
There's a vibe to the song that I just can't quite put my finger on, where it just feels very sort of landing on 1986 scritty polity, but that doesn't really feel right. Like it's just like of a time that just does not feel accurate. Was not when this singer was in existence.
I
Like was
think-
not even a glint in God's eye.
I was going to suggest Casio preset.
Whew, yeah, that would be fair, but yeah, and it's also, it really feels like it's Czech Republic trying to be 2016, 2017 Sweden, which that is not a strategy to adopt right now, considering how Sweden's been is on a bit of a downswing, and nobody really wants to talk about that.
But-
So
yeah, like they're like this one makes some choices, and I don't like any of them. But yeah, like I'm like it's kind of up tempo, and like that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. But not this one. And please stop saying make love.
Ugh. It's so gross. It's so barfy. And it's second place right now in the
okay.
YouTube views, which just makes me all the more uncomfortable. In his favor, I did think that he had a pretty solid video, like in terms of like using all of the confetti and like this was not the first time that he took a selfie video, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I would not be able to produce something like that because I am an old. Ugh.
Moving on.
Yes, let's get out of this and go to Easy to Believe by Pam Rabbit.
If you need it, then come and get it. Love's easy to believe. If you need it, oh, I can share it. Love's easy to believe. But I just need you to give up on every single fear that you picked up. 'Cause you wanna be on the side, floating high. But I just need you to give up on every single fear that you picked up. 'Cause you wanna be on the side, don't deny.
Okay, what did you think about this one, Ben?
Okay, so this is the video which happened like third or fourth in like the little playlist I had for me, where I'm like, yes, this wasn't America's Next Top Model challenge, and she got assigned the bathroom, and God bless her, she'd made the best of it. Because I actually thought like the video for this one, again, I'm like, I wouldn't have shot it that way, but I think given the constraints, they did very well. And like this is another one, sort of like don't know why, where I'm like, this needs like a final pass in a studio to give this a little bit more beef to the actual backing track. But like, I liked it.
I didn't really care for this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't like her voice.
Yeah, like that. That was like the one thing I didn't like about this song, and that's kind of a big part of it.
I think what the issue may be is it sounds like she may have learned how to sing by just copying like Mariah, Ariana Grande, like all of these like big singers from the radio and just trying to emulate them. Cause like it was definitely getting a lot of Britney in her voice,
Yeah.
a lot of, and just a lot of melisma, like just,
But yeah,
you know,
it
like,
is kind of
drinking a glass of melisma before bed each night. So.
yeah, like it is kind of like a thin vocal on top of a thin backing track. But I liked the feeling of it, and and again, I thought that with like a little bit more oomph to the backing, like it could be, it felt like there was a full performance there.
I think she would definitely be very comfortable on the stage, and with the right production design, could make something out of this track. But the vocals, and also I just had a very difficult time just kind of understanding anything that was going on. Like the lyrics weren't really like tracking with me at all. Like it was just like sounds that were just kind of passing through.
So sort of like a Swedish model of writing where it's about like what the word sounds like rather than whether it makes sense.
I was also getting a little bit of the like 2 or 3 songs crammed into one vibe, but it feels like there are elements here that could work. Like I don't want to completely discount it from the rest of the field, particularly because there are songs that I just actively dislike that are in this list. I do not actively dislike this one. There are just things that would be like, oh, I would prefer this rather than this. So
okay, and then the last one we have is Hanna-Barbera. I wanted to say Hanna-Barbera there because my brain is brain.
I'm right there with you.
Hanna-Barbera with Poslední slova tobě.
Poslední slova tobě, že jsem tě milovala. Nikdy jsem neřekla tobě, držela jsem to v sobě. Všechno to ve mně bolí, já řvu to mezi stěny. Možná mě uslyšíš, všechno se to dozvíš.
I think this is the one where it's like I can't watch the videos on these. But the song itself I thought builds really nicely and has like a sense of drama to it.
Yeah, drama definitely seems to be the theme for this one. I agree about the video. That my note for it is just like, man, this video is overwrought.
Yes.
I'm generally going to give bonus points for songs that are not in English, just because that's one of the reasons why I come to Eurovision. I want to hear songs in other languages. And I feel like that this one communicates the story of the song, even though I don't understand any Czech. But yeah, it is still pretty overwrought.
It's
like,
overwrought,
even
but,
like as a track.
I don't necessarily think that overwrought is a bad thing for Eurovision, though.
Oh no, not at all.
Like it's sort of like that's where it's bread and butter at times. Of the entries, I think I probably rated this one higher because, like you, I like when Eurovision entries aren't in English. But yeah, like this one again, like this one built nicely, and like as far as sort of the dramatic ballady things went, I totally understood like what was happening from the story, even though I don't understand the language. Is that somebody has been wronged?
My concern about this one though is that I don't see how this can survive until May. Like it's like, just because it is so kind of over the top and does feel kind of like dramatic reading in a high school creative writing class, like in terms of tone, that I do not want this like repeated on a playlist for the next 4 months. Much like the last one, I think there are a lot of elements here that do work, and the ones that don't are fixable.
Yeah, it has good bones.
All right. So of the 8, which one are you rooting for?
Am I rooting for? I again, like I think I would be fine with True Colors. Let's see. I could see this last one. I could see Hanna-Barbera maybe taking it. Ooh, and then there's also Give Me a Hint. Like I think Give Me a Hint. Yeah, the staging could be like, I can't imagine an exciting staging for it, but it feels very solid, and it's something that I wouldn't mind hearing in a playlist.
Particularly if it gets like another studio pass. I think Give Me a Hint would be a permanent addition to my like main playlist.
Okay.
True Colors is the one that I want to see go through. Yeah, I mean, I think my list pretty much agrees with yours. I like, even with the ones that I don't like or don't think would do well, like I think this is a pretty good selection that Czech Republic came up with, and I think there's variety here, which is nice. It's not like 8 ballads or 8
Or 8
like,
copies
super
of
pop
Lie to Me.
songs. Yeah. Right. Or 8 copies of Toy. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, and like, admittedly, we are very early in the selection season yet, but I feel like we haven't seen like a bunch of carbon copies of Toy.
That one's going to be a difficult one to duplicate, which I think is why there's a lot of Fuego duplication that is popping up everywhere, because that one's a little bit easier to emulate.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is, the ones that we like, we can actually vote on. Voting is open to anyone who downloads the Eurovision app. You do not have to be in the Czech Republic to vote on this. So that's pretty nifty.
Yeah, that's cool.
Voting runs until January 21st, which would be this coming Monday. And anyone can vote. And if you do vote, it's possible that you could win the chance to be the person who presents the winning song to an international audience. We'll have a link to an article with the instructions on how to do that. It involves guessing how many international votes there are. I don't know if it's Price is Right rules, where it's like the closest without going over, or what the deal is with that. But the reveal of the winner will happen on January 29th. So that is something to look forward to.
I do like that the question for who gets to do this is essentially a very Eurovision variant on how many jelly beans are in this jar. Elsewhere in television, France is doing its thing. France did its thing last weekend. How was that? I tuned in for the end part of it and then looked up the entries that got through to the final to be literate about this sort of thing. But how was this year compared to last year's Destination Eurovision?
I think it was better. Last year, what they did was the semifinals were pre-taped, and the people who advanced were determined by just the jury. Mm-hmm. This time, it was a combination of jury vote and home vote, and it was a live broadcast. I think that was an improvement, just because I thought that there were entries last year that probably should not have gone through, and if the public had voted, that I would have gotten my wish. But there seemed to be some sound issues, or I don't know what was going on with some of the performances, but there were some choices that were made that I would not have made if I were given those choices. So one of the things that I forgot about Destination Eurovision is that there's like what I call the karaoke round, mm-hmm. where each singer does like a 90-second cover of a song. I don't know if there's any sort of special rules.
There's like a direction.
What the song is. Yeah. And then we see like their intro video, and then they perform their actual entry. Last year, it wasn't really clear what the purpose of the karaoke round was. Yeah. This year, I'm getting the sense that it's a good way to ensure that you don't get the scenic problem from last year, where it's just like, oh, I'm going to like perform the song, write the song, and design my own stage performance. And this is an opportunity to kind of show like what sort of choices one will make if left to their own devices.
Like, hello, this is my general taste level.
Yeah. Florina, who went second and was one of the favorites going in with the song In the Shadow. The song that she did for the karaoke round was an Edith Piaf song, mm-hmm. which, if you're familiar with Edith Piaf, that is a very high bar to clear. Did not rise to the level that was necessary.
That long silence suggests she probably did not clear that bar.
No, it's not that she didn't go over it. It was that she pretty much walked under it. Like, it was that poor of a choice of a performance. And I think this also was a sign that there may have been sound problems between the broadcast and the studio, because they had like their professional panel mm-hmm. Of like their Simon, Paula, and Randy panel. They didn't actually have a vote. There was an international jury from 5 different countries that actually gave out points, but the Simon, Paula, Randy panel, they all loved her, which makes me wonder if there was just better sound in the studio, or if they were just overlooking a lot of things that the TV audience was
less
forgiving about. So yeah, I think she was thoroughly underwhelming.
Okay.
And
the voting seemed to have agreed with that. And
she was also pretty devastated by like the lack of support from the voting.
Yeah, I will say that like watching like the last 20 minutes or so on Facebook was a very surreal experience, because I had seen only maybe 90 seconds of each song and was just seeing people yelling and having very strong opinions in the Facebook comments that would like be popping up on the right.
Oh. Yeah, because I was watching it on Facebook, but I had it streaming through my Chromecast, so I didn't have the comments playing while I was on there. But no, I was on Twitter, as you may have seen me live tweeting, and yeah, it was. There were opinions.
Yes.
But yeah, there were just some like really baffling choices. Yeah, but overall, I think the correct entries moved on to the final.
Okay. Yeah, and I went back and watched the four that did. I will save my thoughts until we have like the full final to talk about. But yeah, like there was some intriguing stuff going on there.
So the second semifinal will be happening this Saturday. And yeah, if you're around Saturday afternoon, I believe it's on at 3 p.m. Eastern, I would recommend checking it out. It is on Facebook, not geo-blocked at all. So we will have a link to that on our Eurovision calendar. Also starting this week will be Hungary's selection process, Adal, which is my favorite selection process of all of the returning ones. And it looks like it's going to be another solid field of 30 songs competing for Hungary. 10 of them will compete this Saturday. And you haven't checked out our Spotify playlist, which you can get to either by looking us up on Spotify or going to our homepage at eurowhat.com. We have 9 of the 10 songs that'll be in this first heat in our playlist. We may have the 10th song by then. I haven't done a sweep yet, so be sure to check that out. Don't recall offhand what time that show should start, but again, if you go to our homepage, you'll see the Google Calendar, and all of the links and time information should be there.
Okay, let's see. And then elsewhere, Georgia Idol is still continuing. Lithuania, the Lithuanian Marathon has just added like more competition, which is the opposite of how these things work. Mike, please explain to me how Lithuania is supposed to pick an artist if they keep adding them to the lineup.
I don't know. Like they started out with 49, which like when that list came out,
that is a very large number. Like you said 40 for Hungary, and I was like, oof. But like they're in heat 1 of like 4. Lithuania has been going on for like a few weeks.
To be fair, they weren't on this past Saturday. The second heat had been recorded, but it's not airing until this coming Saturday. So that mistake was on me. However, like that means that let's see, they had 12 people compete in the first heat. They've had 13 people compete in the second heat. So that's 25 acts so far. So that would be 24 that are still to compete, except they've now added 3 more entries. One of them, a second entry by a contestant who's already competing. So it's just like, oh, more songs. Just keep throwing them. One of these has got to stick. And it's just
Lithuania. You like stand up for yourself. You can say no.
Not only that, it's like that really kind of seems unfair to the people who have already competed and have been eliminated.
In their back pocket.
Right. And you don't need to go through your entire work product in 2 weeks. Like Eurovision will be back next year. Like just hold, I don't know.
Lithuania is making some choices, and at some point they will have chosen one song to represent themselves with.
Yeah, but it's not going to help them when that selection is made in July. So
let's see. Over on the Maltese X Factor, they have had their live 3, and knowing the X Factor, that might be a semifinal. Who knows?
Yeah, well, they started out with 12 acts. They've gotten rid of 4. Three of the 4 have been groups. There were only 3 groups, so there will be no group representing Malta at Eurovision this year. Yeah, but they're scheduled to wrap things up in a couple weeks, so this weekend maybe a bloodbath?
Yeah, just
Who
like
knows?
13 contestants are getting eliminated, and there's only 12 of them in the competition, so oh no.
Yeah. So the X Factor was us all along. Yep. That may be interesting to see how that one shakes out. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, the main one that's probably going to catch our interest is Spain's Operation Triunfo Eurovision Gala, which is happening on Sunday. So this is where they have the 10 songs, 3 of which were chosen by the public, and 7 that were determined by a jury. It's going to be their national final. The 10 songs will compete. The winner will be determined by a single round of public voting, with feedback provided by Eurovision alumni, including Pastora Soler, who represented Spain in 2012 with Quédate Conmigo, and Doron Medley, who wrote Toy. So we will know Spain's entrant by this time next week.
Exciting.
Yes, and Eleni will be one of the guest performances, probably doing Fuego, maybe doing something else. Who knows?
Who knows?
So
She's a busy lady.
but
let's
extremely
be honest.
popular in Spain. So
Let's be honest, it's going to be Fuego.
oh yeah, and I am here
Yeah,
for
like get that money.
it. That will be happening pretty late Sunday afternoon. Like I think the show starts like 10 p.m. Spain time.
Yeah.
So so that's gonna be like 4:00 US time. So get your grocery shopping, get your laundry done early, and then have a nice thing to look forward to before dinner.
Yep.
So that's gonna do it for this episode of the Euro What. Thanks for listening. The Euro What podcast is hosted by Mike McComb, that's me, and Ben Smith.
That's me.
You can find us on our website at eurowhat.com and on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Eurowhat. If you'd like to contact us by email, we can be reached at esc@whatelsison.tv. We'd love to hear your questions and comments. You can subscribe to the Euro What on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or the podcast app of your choice. Rating and reviewing the podcast when you subscribe helps other Eurovision fans find us, and word of mouth is still the best way to get folks to listen, so please be sure to tell your friends about the Euro What podcast. We'll be back next week to try to make sense of what's new in Eurovision.